RMG's Trash Talk is brought to you by Scrubs 911, Somerset's medical uniform store. Learn more at scrubs911.com or like them on Facebook.
Well, now that the Daytona 500 is over, it was a fantastic finish to that race. Racing season is officially upon us here in the United States. And here in the Laurel Highlands region, well, we've got a couple more weeks to go. We've got to get rid of some of this wet stuff happening, the white stuff that's going to be coming tonight. And on this wonderful, beautiful day here in February, we're visited by Joe Padula from Bedford Speedway. I want to talk about local racing. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about Bedford Speedway. It's one of my favorite tracks. It's a big track. Whenever we covered it with Chase to the Checker, we were down there for the sprint cars, and I think we were down there for a super late model race. But this is its 80th anniversary, correct? I mean, it's been around for a long time.
Yep, first race was September 1936, and it's been racing every year since then, with the exception of just about 2 or 3 during the war, various things. So we're really excited about that. You know, not a lot of places can say that they've been doing the same thing for 80 years.
A lot of events, a lot of venues have come and gone in 80 years, and Bedford Speedway still going strong. That's fantastic. It's a great story. Let's talk about the track. As I just said, it's a big track. We always refer to it as a 5/8 mile oval. It's big. It seems like it's wide or something about it. Talk about the specifics of the Speedway.
Well, it's definitely big. It's big and fast. It's a half mile on the inside. It was built for horses, so right around the rail is a half mile, and it's 5/8 of a mile around the outside. So it makes it, just as fast as your Port Royal, your Selinsgrove, Hagerstown. All these big half miles are in that same category, and it's kind of unique because, like I said, it's an 80-year-old facility. It's uphill and downhill, which to my knowledge, the only other place in America that can say that is North Wilkesboro, and they don't race there anymore, so now it's just us. It's 25 feet elevation change from turn 1 up to turn 3, which people that have never been there before and want to go racing, it throws them for a loop. It's really unique.
That's one of the things I like about racing. I mean, it's a sport of science. There's a lot of technology that goes into it, but there's also some little nuances at the track that an elevation change. You would have thought of something like that in the days of NASCAR, everything down to wind tunnels and millimeters of difference. To hear about something like that, that's pretty cool. There's a lot of great stories with Bedford Speedway. Let's talk about your family's involvement. I know that Mike Satosky was here, and he talked about the elder Joe Padula and your family's involvement with the track. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, my father ran the racetrack from the late 80s until 1999. So basically, my whole childhood, I grew up there from the time I was about 3 years old until my mid-teens. And that was our family business. The whole family was involved, my mom and the dad, sisters, everybody. And from the time I could walk, I was doing something there, playing in the mud or usually getting into trouble. Of course, as I got older, he started putting me to work. And I thought, oh, this is great, getting to do stuff. He thought, free labor, this is great. So, as time progressed, I did more and more, and kind of one time or another, learned or did just about everything you could do around there, and obviously formed an attachment to the place. So he retired in 1999. We did some other things. I actually, still stuck around. By the time I was 16 or so, I was working at various other racetracks. I was scoring and things like that. And then we went away to college, and we got out of college. Me and my father, we had the opportunity. Mr. Will called him about racing up at Thunder Valley. Mm-hmm. So we started up there and worked with Mr. Will for a while. And while he was still alive, that was a lot of fun. And then the opportunity at Bedford came around, and now it's full circle. We're kind of back where we started, and we couldn't be happier. It's just fantastic to get to race back in Bedford.
Another unique thing about Bedford Speedway is that it's at the Bedford Fairgrounds. It's like Mike likes to say, it's the Bedford Fairgrounds Speedway, or the Bedford Speedway at the Fairgrounds. And one of the neatest events that I went to, we covered it with Chase to the Checkered years ago, was when the fair was going on. and you had the racing, and we were in the infield shooting back towards the grandstands, and we had the racing. And here come the late models out of turn 4, and as you kind of zoomed out, there's a Ferris wheel in the background. Dirt track racing is just so much fun. I love taking my kids to it. We love coming to Bedford. It's so much fun. And the history behind Bedford and all the great names, it's just phenomenal. But we've seen, that's the good side. Now, one of the things that we've seen, however, with the recession, with the decline of the economy, and I don't like to linger on that. At other tracks, we've seen car counts going down. The number of racers being able to afford to race, down to dangerous levels, dangerously low levels, to the point where it might be affecting the show. The fans might turn their nose up to it, whatever. Bedford, not necessarily the case. The races I've been to, the pits are pretty daggone full. How are you guys doing with car count, and what magic dust are you sprinkling on that to keep things going?
Oh, I don't know that there's magic dust. There's a lot of things. Probably the biggest thing is kind of what you just hinted on is fun. Racing's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun, just like anything else. You buy a set of golf clubs to have fun. You buy a boat to have fun. And you might not necessarily have fun, with your golf clubs or anything, but you're supposed to. And what we sell at Bedford is fun, at the core. You spend all this money on a race car. You spend all this money on tickets with your family, to have a good night. And everything we do is kind of based on that, experience. You make people happy, give people a good product. And there's a lot that goes into that. The quality of the facility, the location, the quality of the racing, the way you treat everybody. But if you can provide something that is a good quality product, everybody goes home happy, or at least most of them, or at least we try to.
Right.
Sometimes
you
it
can't
seems
make everybody
like
happy,
nobody
believe
goes
me.
home happy.
Right.
It works, and you go to a lot of racetracks. Maybe it seems like the fun isn't quite there. It's more of a job or a hassle or anything. Well, we don't want that. I want everybody to leave my place at the end of the night and glad that they decided to be racers and decided to come to Bedford. And at its core, that's probably the biggest thing that you have to focus on. The happiness, making people happy.
Trying to make as many people happy as humanly possible. It sounds like you have to be part politician, I guess, and when you're juggling so many different things going on. Let's talk about I can't use the term regular show. I've had so many race promoters say, we don't have anything like a regular show. We don't have a regular show. But let's talk about, let's call it a weekly show. Your weekly show, you guys race Friday nights, correct?
Right.
What do fans experience on and again, I can't use the word typical because a race promoter will say there's no such thing as a typical weekly show. But a fan comes on a Friday night, how many classes of racing do you have? And can you just briefly go over for fans that may not be race fans, that are just, or maybe they're NASCAR fans, they're going to experience something completely different, not completely different, but different at a dirt track. The cars aren't necessarily all the same. There's a lot of different types of cars rather than just one type of car out on or racing at that event. So can you go over, you race 5 different divisions, correct? Can you go over each one very quickly, what they are, the size of the engine, what types of cars they are, and how fast they go?
Well, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of dirt divisions. As our regular kind of core, we have 4, 5, 6 division shows that we do. And we bring in a lot of oddball stuff. I think last year we had 10 or 11 different divisions that raced at least once. Our top regular Friday night division is the super late models, which is basically the fastest, most powerful car on dirt. They're monsters. They are the same all over the country pretty much. People that can race here, can race anywhere, and that's the primary product that people want to see if they want to go see
sometimes called the feature
race.
division.
The feature division, the headliner. We also have a limited late model division, which is essentially the same. It's the engine is a little different. Supposedly, it's supposed to be cheaper. That was the idea 15 years ago when other people came up with that division. We have that I've introduced in the last couple of years, a modified division, which is kind of takes combinations of stock-bodied parts with aftermarket parts, kind of combining our stock classes with our late model classes, which is a good intermediate division, and we're building that up. That's something that in the future is going to be a real good second division. Then we have two stock body divisions that essentially look like Monte Carlos or Impalas or whatever. The first one is faster with more racing components. The second one is slower with more stock components allowed. But
these are for your guys that are moving up. They get into this, they can build these cars on their own, more affordable than the late models and limited lates and super lates. It's kind of an entry class to get into or as you move up through.
Your late model divisions, basically you buy everything. You have to call up a guy and a chassis builder and buy everything. Whereas when you get down to our stock body classes, you can build it in your garage, which is a huge selling point for what we're doing because gearheads like to do it themselves. You can spend all winter building something in your garage and then come out and race it. And the way we have designed our format with our rules and all, you can do it and be competitive, which limits the expense. And for somebody that doesn't want to spend a lot of money, can come out and have a good time. And then our final division is essentially the entry-level division. Our 4-cylinders, which are front-wheel drive, Neons, Cavaliers, things like that. They're basically bare bones stock. You make safety modifications and go racing. You could do it for next to nothing, and that's where you get guys that, hey, if they just want to get into it and get their feet wet, they start there. And we have a lot of guys running late models that have advanced, through the ranks, ran 4 or 5 divisions on the way up. And we try to make a mix of those divisions, plus some of our other sprint cars and things like that, each week to make a full show.
We'll get to the sprint cars in just a second, but the 4-cylinder class I really like because you see them popping up not only at Bedford, but they race them at Jennerstown. They've raced them as enduros at Jennerstown for a while. But what I like about them is it goes back to the earliest days of stock car racing, where you had guys that said, I built my car out of junk or out of parts I found in a junkyard. If I needed this part, I'd go to the junkyard and pull it off of this car and put it on. You don't see that in the late model class, but you certainly see it in the 4-cylinder class. So I like how it kind of dips its toe back into the past of stock car racing. It's a really neat part. But now let's get to some of the shows that I don't want to call it a big show because, again, every week is a big show and as a race promoter.
Every week something special's going on.
Absolutely. The All-Star Sprint Show, one of my favorites. So Tony Stewart, he owns the series. The Coffee Pot Classic coming up. Let's talk about some of the special shows to include the All-Star Sprints. What are your other events this year?
Well, we every event we do, we do our core divisions, but I always try to throw in a little something extra every week. Obviously, every couple weeks, once a month or so, we have something really big, a big show. Our All-Star Sprint shows are, we really like them. The All-Stars was kind of a weak breed the last couple years till Tony got involved, and he just took everything to another level. And we were lucky enough to not only get in, but get 2 really good dates that fit really good for us here at Bedford, as well as with the surrounding tracks. And getting the show that they bring is second to none. Last year, we were thrilled with it. We usually schedule 2. Last year, one of them rained, and one of them it almost rained. It always rains at Bedford when we have sprint cars. You can
and all you have
up.
to do if you want to see half your attendees, half the fans stay home, is at 8 o'clock on Friday morning. Hear the word rain, and everybody just stays home. It could be beautiful, cloudless, and all that, but they heard rain. It's like, oh, better not go out. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love the rain. Everybody pulls up their smartphone. Oh, there's a 40% chance of rain tonight. We better not drive the 5 miles to the racetrack.
In the days before,
it drives people crazy.
In the days before smartphones, I always laughed that you get some of the guys, the bigger budget guys that had their haulers, and they had laptops with maybe a Wi-Fi hookup or somehow, or they would have somebody on the phone watching Weather Channel at home back before you could get it on your phone. And I always said that any type of rain possibility, every other pit box in along pit road became AccuWeather, and there were so many amateur meteorologists that would just pop up left and right. Oh, we're not going to get rain. Oh, the barometric pressure's too low. We're not going to get any rain. So it's hilarious whenever it comes to weather and racing. But let me throw one. These are a lot of softball questions. Let me throw one hardball question at you, and it really isn't hardball. But what is the one problem you had last year that you have found a solution for this year? Whether it's on the track, working with drivers, the track itself. What problem did you have last year that you, during the off season, you were able to find a solution for this year?
Well, there's 1,000 problems.
Pick one, just one.
It seems like the biggest problem for a racetrack promoter, and everybody will tell you this, is keeping the racers happy. You have 100 racers in the pits, and depending on how many divisions you have, only 3 or 4 of them can win. Mm-hmm. Theoretically, 3 or 4 of them are going home happy, and everybody else unhappy. So last year we raced 25 times, and when you race that many times, there's lots of opportunity for racers to be unhappy. So we had a very good year. I can't complain about anything that we did. But probably where some of the things we've stepped up the most is you're looking at some things that maybe the racers weren't happy with, or people said, hey, kick this around, or hey, look at that we can do to maybe make their experience a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I can't make them all win every night, but I can make people, anything I can do to make them a little happier, we can. And through the year, or through last year, through every year, little things come up, and maybe it's only one guy, maybe it's 20 guys that might have an issue with something, and we just have to sit down like we do every winter and think, hey, we had this happen. Next time this happens, let's go a different way. Let's try this, or let's look at these other options. And if something similar happens this year, and maybe that guy will go home a little happier, or at least a little less mad.
A little more satisfied.
I don't
know how
because,
you put that.
It's all about making your guests happy, and guest experience. And they spend a pile of money to come racing, and anything you can do to make the surface, the show, the quality of the racing, anything better for them, you have to look at.
So racing season this year for you guys starts, is it April 4th, early April?
We have our practice session and car show on Sunday, April the 3rd, mm-hmm. and we combine them. You have car show is at the fairgrounds in the morning, afternoon everybody drives over and we have our practice. And then the following Friday, which is April the 8th, is our first Friday show. April
8th is when your season starts. Gates open what time?
Gates open at 5 o'clock, warm-ups at 7, racing at 7:30. We always start late. It's Friday. People get all worried, 7:05, there's no cars out there. Mm-hmm. We always start late, we race hard, and we finish early, and get everybody home by 10:30 or so.
Well, Friday's a work day. Everybody's got to work. These drivers have real jobs to pay for the cars that they race with, so they get off at 4 or 5 o'clock. They got to have time to get there, and so it's good to start late, get more people there. So sponsors are still always looking for sponsors at Bedford Speedway. Fans, for more information on the entire schedule, everything going on, and there's a lot going on. We would be here 3 hours talking about all the stuff that's going on at Bedford. Visit bedfordspeedway.com. Joe Padula, thanks for stopping by today. Good luck this season.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.